Let's move on to stuff that's coming out this week.
Yes, so let's go through the games first, shall we?
Yes.
So we got some good stuff coming out for this week. But first, I'm not saying it's bad, but Sing On is coming out. It's a karaoke game.
Okay.
The only bonus, I guess, is that it's got Bohemian Rhapsody on it.
Wow.
Should we sing some Bohemian Rhapsody?
No.
No?
No.
All right, then. Also out this week, Final Fantasy XIV Realm Reborn is out on PlayStation 4.
Yeah. Is that like a remaster or something? Or an HD thing? Or, I don't know.
Luke Kamali is the person to ask. Look, Final Fantasy, I've tried to get into Final Fantasy. I struggle with it, unfortunately. Much more up my alley is Trials Fusion, which is out this week. Now, obviously, we are big fans of Trials here. I've been playing that a fair bit at home, and obviously we played the multiplayer in the office. It's more of the same. It's not reinventing the bicycle wheel.
Although we have, like you say, played multiplayer in the office. It seemed a little slower than the last generation. I don't know.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you there. But the other thing is, there are so few tracks because obviously the big thing of Trials is that when people start generating their own tracks and because like the tracks when you're kind of steaming down like a massive roller coaster thing, it's fast, but there seems to be a much kind of greater balance between slower tracks and fast tracks.
My one piece of advice to you is to use the quad bike.
I hope they fix that.
Because at the moment, if you use the quad bike, you just piss over everybody.
You just accelerate.
Yeah,
you don't have to brake, and you go straight through the level and win almost every time.
It's dad mode. I love it.
So that was early code we were playing on. So that wasn't finished code. So we'll have to see. Anyway, the review for that will be up on the site by the time you read this. And if I remember rightly, it scores an 8.7.
Oh, that's pretty good.
It might have been an 8.2.
That's still pretty good.
But anyway, it's good. I enjoyed it. Also out this week is Fifa World Cup. So it's obviously the official World Cup game.
Alex, call it by its proper name.
All right, 2014 FIFA World Cup Brazil.
That's better.
Yeah.
They didn't pay all that money for the license for nothing, you know.
No, exactly. So and that seems quite early to me. Like I haven't even given a second thought to the World Cup yet. Because we're still in the middle of the Premier League season. That's exciting.
We're not in the middle of it.
Well, you know what I mean. The kind of the finale is happening now. All the exciting ting is happening.
Yeah, it will start ramping up though the day after this Premiership ends.
World Cup review goes up this week. I think it's going to go up on Thursday. We were hoping to get up early in this week, but we've been trying to get code. Blah-de-blah-de-blah. Yeah. It's not like Trials. It's not reinventing the football game. It's basically based on last year's FIFA, but obviously with all the official
it would be, wouldn't it?
Malarkey.
Right.
Can anyone reinvent the football game now? Everyone seems so set in their ways.
But it's also, FIFA's in a difficult position because they've made such massive leaps and bounds and made the game as good as it can be.
Yeah. I
honestly think, and it'll never happen, is that they should bin the releasing every year and just do it as a subscription or something like that. Because then I'd feel cheated if I was spending 45 quid every single year.
Of course you would,
and I'm not saying that there's not a lot of work that goes into it, but at the same time, it's like, the there's only so much advancement you can do. Mm-hmm. Unless you start having players with 3 legs and 2 balls. Like multi-ball, that'd be good, wouldn't it?
3 legs and 2... How many balls?
Multi-balls.
Yeah.
Movies out this week, Chris.
Yeah, so we have Lock coming out this week, which Stuart and I have seen, and I am in the midst of my review, so I don't know what the score is going to be yet.
Do you think it's going to be a high score, Chris?
There's positives I can take out of it. There's things I liked, things I didn't. Okay. I'm kind of sitting on the fence a bit with this one. But yeah, it stars Tom Hardy, and it's a film set in a single location. It's him in a car driving from Birmingham to Croydon.
Yep.
And it's his
yeah, that's right.
It's his life kind of unravelling over the course of the movie through the phone calls that he has with various people in his life.
Is it real time?
Yes. Pretty much.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can almost do that journey in 2 hours. Depends on the M6. Does he go via the toll road?
He does the M6. I don't remember there being a toll.
Well, it's just the M6 toll road. Obviously, if there's congestion
it's lovely,
on the M6.
Isn't it? I do like driving up the M6
You pay a little
toll.
bit extra and you go much faster.
I always find it difficult to come back down on the M6 toll, though. I can never seem to find the start of it.
I've never been on the M6 toll road. I turned off before I got there.
Oh. You see, this conversation is more interesting than some of the conversations in the film.
Oh, really?
Because his job is, he's a foreman on a building site, and their conversations about concrete that's being delivered.
Right.
And there's a lot of them. And they're trying to be quite clever by trying to make that interesting and exciting and tense. I didn't think that worked.
Well, it's all right. I'm not going to be on site for the build, but I tell you what's going to happen is we're going to have 138 lorries coming down. All you got to do is keep that mix stirred, all right? Just keep the mix stirred. Make sure all the pumps are working. Now, it's going to be fine.
Stuart isn't having a stroke. Tom Hardy affects a Welsh accent for the film for no apparent reason.
Yeah. Well, it must be because he's Welsh.
The character is Welsh.
Right, well, there you go.
Apparently that wasn't in the script or anything. He just came and decided he wanted to do it in a Welsh accent,
really?
which is quite...
But that's... like, how did he come up with his Bane voice, right? That's all a bit weird.
Isn't that because he just had something stuck to the front of his mouth?
Yeah, but it wouldn't make you talk like this.
But Chris, I posited a theory about this earlier on. In episode 2 of A Trip to Italy, Rob Brydon takes the piss out of Tom Hardy's voice. So I think what's happening here is Tom Hardy is actually taking the piss out of Rob Brydon's voice in this film.
Wow. You can tweet that.
How did you have figured that out? Because obviously Locke would have been filmed a long, long time ago.
Well, you don't know, do you?
Well, yeah, would have done.
Tom Hardy's smart, but I guess
Tom Hardy's smart. That's a good answer.
I guess with something like that, you think there's going to be some kind of a thriller element, like Phone Booth, Buried, Frozen, a thriller or horror element to it. But
the other Frozen,
sorry, the Frozen that came out 4 years ago, where they're stuck up on a ski lift for the whole film,
right?
Which is very good, actually, better than it sounds.
That'd be really bad if you took your child to go and see that Frozen.
Yeah, I think for a time the tags were a bit confused on our system on IGN as well, or at least I was tagging the wrong film for a while. But there's not. So it's. I think they're a bit too clever for their own good. It didn't really work for me. I didn't really feel tense and enthralled for the whole film. But a lot of people seem to have, if you've seen the reviews this week.
It's like, isn't his performance supposed to be like really good?
He's very good at it.
He's fine in it, but he's let down by, I think, a pretty poor script.
Right.
And I don't think it's given too much away, Chris, to say that he's the only person on screen pretty much for the entire movie. But he gets a lot of phone calls, so there's a lot of voice acting going on.
Right.
And so a film like that is going to stand or fall on the quality of the acting of those voices. And I think the film has issues there.
Yeah, I didn't have as big a problem with them as you did, but so it sounds like it split people quite a lot then. This film, and the other film this week, Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah,
which I haven't seen. I've just realised.
So I have.
Wow.
And it's okay.
Yes.
So Andrew Garfield is again brilliant as Peter Parker Spider-Man. There's some good action in it. I didn't think Electro was a particularly good villain. I thought the makeup stroke CG looked a little bit rubbish. Same with Green Goblin, actually. I didn't think he looked particularly good. But the biggest problem of all is that there's just way too much going on, and it doesn't give enough time to any of the characters to let them properly kind of develop and come out. And it really is a movie that's setting up for all the other movies that are coming down the line.
Yeah, it's pretty much
shame.
That's what Creeper wrote in his review, isn't it? He said there's just not enough space for anything to breathe. Everything's just kind of thrown, just to make sure everything is set up and put in place for the next movies.
Yeah. But there's a couple of really good moments in there. Like there's this bit where he's kind of he disappears for a bit. It's not a particularly big spoiler, and the city believes in Spider-Man, and there's this little kid facing off against Rhino. Very sort of sweet moments, and it does the emotional bits really, really well, which is kind of odd for a superhero film, because most of the time superhero films go clunky when it's that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I guess that's one of Mark Webb's strengths as a director, though, isn't it? Because he did Finding Neverland.
No. He did not. He did 500 Days of Summer.
Right, yeah.
Finding Neverland was the other guy who did.
Always get those confused.
Quantum of Solace.
My mistake.
Yeah. So if you're going to pick one film this week,
definitely Amazing Spider-Man. I think Locke is one for home entertainment. Watch it on the telly.
It's not a terrible film. It's just not as good as I kind of wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And in terms of games, you've got to be Trials Fusion. Definitely get Trials Fusion.
Yeah, definitely, and play it with all your friends.
Absolutely.
Brilliant.